So Wild and Fury 2 is off. Isn't a surprise. To be honest, this has probably been in the works since the end of their first fight, so what, the 2nd of December. Wilder, he really needs to look at his whole management structure and the team and the people that he has in place. He needs to ask himself, are they really doing the best for me? Because how do you finish third in a two-horse race? How do you manage that? How do you fuck that up? At one point, it's 1-2, him and Joshua. He would argue he was number one and Joshua was number two. And I think the vast majority of the boxing community would argue that Joshua was number one and he was number two. But it's neither here or there. They were number one and number two. What Fury then got himself into that fold by sharing a common enemy in Joshua. And Wilder was so stupid and his team was so stupid to not realise that that was going to come with consequences. And the consequences of that was you're going to have to give up a portion of that fan base and that mystique of being in the upper echelons. But then again, it was a cherry pick, and it was a cherry pick that went wrong. I got another video on that. Wilder probably didn't think in a million years that Fury was going to be in the position to win that fight. And I believe Fury won that fight, but he could not have thought that was going to happen. And he's got to look at his team. He's got to look at his team and say, I finished third in a two-horse race where the two non-American guys have got deals that I could only dream of, and he's been boxing twice as long as AJ, that's for sure. And he doesn't have anything like that in place. He needs to look at his team. Fury, this is a difficult one because, put it this way, if anyone in there was offered £80 million or $100 million for a five-fight deal, who's not going to take that? You're going to take that. Now, if you're ESPN or Top Rank, are you going to put him in with Wilder straight away while you're still trying to introduce him to the American public? That's a big risk because what if he gets flattened, by Wilder relatively easily in that rematch? What are you going to do for the other four fights? Who's interested in that? Because if he gets absolutely destroyed, there'll be no calls for a rematch. Then it will be, they had two fights, one was a draw, controversial, yes, but then Wilder then settled that debate by starching out Fury. Where's the rematch? There's no one else to face other than Joshua, and this is why I've been saying for the longest time, all roads leads to Joshua. How can you try and freeze out the guy that's got 3 or 4 of the other belts? That don't make no sense at all. What Fury and what Wilder was hoping, not Fury clearly because he was 2 steps ahead of him, what Wilder was hoping was that he was going to face Fury twice a year for the next 2 or 3 years. That seemed to be his game plan. He kept going on about, he's a pay-per-view star, this and that. Nah. Let's see now how much of a pay-per-view star you are when you take on Dominic Breazeale, which is probably your most likely fight if, obviously, the Fury fight definitely doesn't go ahead. It's got to be Breazeale because he's been waiting for a couple of years now. So let's say you take on Breazeale. Is that even going to be pay-per-view? I highly doubt it. And if it is, there's no way that it's going to do anywhere near the numbers that it did for the Fury fight. And that wasn't even amazing numbers in the first place. Who's going to pay up to $100 or close to $100 for that? For a fight that Joshua already beaten 3 years ago? Nah, you're not a pay-per-view star. And the quicker Deontay realizes that he has his limitations and he is what he is, then he's always going to find himself in this predicament. Let's go back a month or so ago. This guy was gloating that his dastardly plan had worked, and they had, locked out Joshua, and he was at the throne. He was the one. Him and Fury had done it, and it's amazing how quickly that things are turned around. And all Joshua did was make a fight. He didn't have to do anything crazy. He didn't have to do anything ultra sinister. He didn't have to do. All he did was make a fight with, the 3rd or 4th best option there was out there. And now suddenly the buzz is with him. And where does that leave you? Without a dance partner, jilted, on prom night. It's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt. Again, Fury, it's a difficult one because I understand why he's done it. You know, you've got a guaranteed income in the bag, and this is the problem with networks paying up front for multiple fight deals. How motivated is that guy going to be moving forward if you're just going to put warm bodies in front of him and he's guaranteed an income of a certain level as a baseline? You know, I know you want to get them on, and obviously as a fighter, you want to get the best deal for yourself. So absolutely, 100%, I don't blame Fury for getting the best deal that he can for himself. But from a network perspective, is okay, right? You've given him, you've guaranteed him X amount for over a certain amount of fights. How motivated is he now to go and make the best fights? I don't think they will be. There's got to be a level of sales where, yes, we'll give you, you know, a decent enough wage, but you now got to go out and make the biggest and best fights and sell those fights, and then you'll be rewarded based on the how those fights do. There's got to be a level of that as well. But if the base is so high, you know, 20 million a fight, you know, or there or thereabouts, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to the point where I just can't see Fury being overly motivated. Now, Fury's got form of not giving rematches. He never gave Klitschko a rematch, and all the wildettes was like, oh, Klitschko was 2 years old, out of shape when he faced Joshua. No, he wasn't. He was in training camp. It was only 18 months. He was in training camp for about 18 months because Fury pulled out twice out of a rematch. Twice. So Wilder, Vlad, sorry, was in good condition, was in peak condition in terms of facing Joshua. He wasn't on a coke binge. He wasn't on a drug binge. He wasn't on a drinking binge. He was in shape in the gym with his mind focused for facing and rematching Fury. But Fury was the one that pulled out twice. So when Joshua fought him, he had fought someone who had effectively in training camp for 18 months, you know, raring to go. And that's why we probably saw the best Vlad that we've seen in the last 5 years, easily. It was a much better Vlad than performed against Fury. And obviously Fury plays a part in nullifying him, but ultimately that was a good Vlad that we saw. I don't know if we'll see the same now if he came back, but on that night he turned up, mainly because of the fact that he was in the gym, you know, solid for 18 months, you know, working at getting his belt back. But anyway, the fight's not going to happen. I don't know whose fault it is. More of it probably lies with Fury, just based on the fact that Wilder and his team can't get anything in place. For someone that's the A side, he don't make shit happen. This is what I don't understand with him. He claims and screams A-side. He likes the idea of playing A-side. He likes the idea of being the man, but he never actually plays that part in terms of what is expected of you. He sits there saying he's A-side and he's saying they're not making me the right offers. If you're the A-side, you're the one that's making the offers. I don't understand. I've never heard of a B-side pursuing the A-side and offering them deals. So you've been saying you're A-side all these years. How come you not made Fury the offer that's going to be enough for him to not even have to look at ESPN? You're looking to be made the offers. Anyway, now, you've said that you're a free agent. There's nothing stopping you from fighting on ESPN, but we know that you won't. They're using you. They don't even want to pay you for the exclusivity of being on Showtime, yet they expect you to be loyal towards them. Obviously, if you're looking long term, then yeah, if you fight on the ESPN that one time you burn those bridges with Steven Espinosa and the guys at Showtime, then fair enough. But you're 33 years old. I don't think you need to be worried about burning bridges at networks. You need to be worrying about making the best possible fights for your legacy and making the money that you're talking about making. So if that means going on ESPN, then so be it. And if you put on a show and it's spectacular and you do the same things that you say you're going to do, then maybe ESPN will offer you something similar. I highly doubt it. Which people out there, the LDC are so funny. Now they're out there now begging for a Wilder offer from Hearn and the likes. Begging. Ask which network is going to be stupid enough to entrust Deontay with circa 80 million 5-fight deal. Who's gonna do that? Which exec is gonna sign that off? You know why they weren't offering those deals? Because deep down they've looked at the numbers. They've looked at the numbers and they know they will not get a return. They just won't. It is not worth it. say what you want about Joshua. He puts bums on seats and he sells pay-per-views and he sells tickets. Wilder has never done that. He's never been proven to do that. And even with the Fury fight, they will have, like, we've only seen the headline figures of 350 circa pay-per-views and 17,000 at the Barclays Center, whatever. We've seen the headline figures, but there'll be some analyst somewhere who's actually dig deep down into those figures, and they've looked at the geographic and the demographic data, and whatnot, and they would have analysed it, and they would have probably have come to a conclusion that it was mainly down to Fury. They would have probably thought it was mainly down to Fury and not Wilder. And even if you put, even if, to be fair, even if you put it down the middle and said it was 50-50, so from that 300 odd, only 150,000 Americans, Wildettes, Wilder minions turned out via pay-per-view. Even if you gave him that, if you gave him 50-50, only 150,000, 175,000 tops basically paid for his fight. So if he goes and fights Dominic Brazil, then what are those numbers going to be? Because Dominic Brazil doesn't have a fan base. No 175 people ain't going to be paying to see Dominic Brazil by himself. It's off. Will it ever happen? I don't know. Maybe Fury will take one or two fights and then come back to it. But for now, it looks like it's going to be Wilder Brazil. Who knows who Fury's going to fight? Hopefully, Joshua dispatches of Miller, in good time, and then we never know. Maybe we can get that unification, that undisputed fight after all.